Are you struggling with anxiety, chest pain, dizziness, or even unexplained gut issues after a viral infection like COVID? You might be dealing with something that's affecting your entire nervous system, your vagus nerve. In today's video, I'm going to break down how the vagus nerve inflammation could be the root of your symptoms and share what you can do to start healing. Stick with me to the end because I've got some powerful solutions that could help you start feeling better today. Hello and welcome. I am Carrie Bailey, your functional nutritionist. I help people recover from long COVID and resolve weird mystery symptoms by yanking them out by the root. If you are looking for root cause resolution, welcome to my channel. I talk about the vagus nerve a lot in my videos, but recently I've had two clients struggling with very severe vagus nerve inflammation, which really got me thinking it's time to make a video specifically about this topic. For those of you dealing with long COVID, you might recognize some of the symptoms of vagal nerve inflammation. They include things like anxiety and nervousness, chest pain, difficulty breathing, difficulty swallowing, things like whether it's your food or supplements, headaches and migraines, tingling or numbness, vertigo and dizziness. These are just some of the symptoms that you might experience if your vagus nerve is inflamed. But why does this happen and how can it be addressed? There's three different scenarios that I like to describe that can cause the vagal nerve inflammation. One is this vagal nerve inflammation happens because of the waste from the virus. So just like you eat and poop, your viruses and things in your body eat and poop. It might not necessarily be the virus itself that's hanging out in the brain, the waste products making their way there and disrupting your neurotransmitters and the nerve function, which can lead to brain inflammation, because that's kind of where everything starts, right, for your nervous system. And if you throw in heavy metals into the mix, things like mercury and lead, these things can also deplete the minerals in your body, and they also corrode your body systems. And that's another layer that can worsen nerve inflammation. For some people, it's not just the virus, but the buildup of toxins that's driving this issue of vagus nerve inflammation. So everyone's experience is going to look a little bit different, but it's still considered vagus nerve inflammation. Now, the degree to which you get this inflammation can vary. Depending on how many pathogens and how many toxins are present in your body. For example, if someone has a very high viral load, they might be experiencing more severe and even more symptoms. And it's interesting because people might have like these hot spots along the vagus nerve that's linked to specific symptoms. So one person might feel it as dizziness, while another person might feel it as tightness in their chest. Both are stemming from the same nerve, the vagus nerve. It can even be where the virus attaches along the nerve that causes specific problems. The second scenario that can happen is the communication breakdown, right? The vagus nerve acts like a communication highway. It's for signals travel from your brain to your body. And when it's inflamed, that communication gets blocked. Neurons, right, which are supposed to transport signals, can get contaminated or causing information to get skewed and scrambled as it travels from the brain to other parts of the body. This might be why someone experiences electrical heartbeat issues, even though their heart is physically fine. I hear this from a lot of clients who've had heart rate monitors and everything came back normal, but their heart rate is still erratic. So this can be an electrical issue more than a structural issue. And the third scenario that I see is this brain to gut breakdown. Another issue with vagal nerve inflammation is that it can cause problems in the gut. The brain is sending signals down the vagus nerve to regulate the gut function, But if the signal gets disrupted, you might experience gut pain or spasms or issues with movement of your intestines. And what's crazy is that even though the problem originates in your brain or somewhere along your vagus nerve, the gut might be the first place you notice or experience symptoms. This doesn't always happen consistently. Symptoms come and go, which makes it really tricky to track. We talked about this in a previous video about how to track your symptoms effectively, because neurotoxins can float around in your bloodstream, affecting different parts of your body at different times. And it's not always straightforward. What can you do to start feeling better from this vagal nerve inflammation? Well, I always recommend checking out my long COVID recovery guide. It is a great first step to begin healing, as it covers the key foods and supplements and lifestyle changes that will help reduce inflammation and support your body as it recovers from the effects of long COVID. You can grab your copy in the description box below. All right, let's jump into some key foods and nutrients to support your vagus nerve. So your vagus nerve is made up of nerve cells, and those nerve cells need glucose to function properly. So one of the first things I recommend is reducing insulin resistance, which means cutting down on fats for a while. Why? Because nutrients can only enter the cell when they're attached to glucose. This includes antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, amino acids, and even antibacterial properties, antiviral properties, whether you're taking these in food form or supplement form. So for example, B12 can't even get in the cell without glucose, which is so interesting, right? Because people say, oh, I'm doing carnivore, I'm getting plenty of B12. Yes, but you're missing the glucose, which is what helps open the door to the cell to get the nutrients in. Now, everyone who's on a high-fat diet, especially if you're eating a lot of animal protein, might find themselves deficient in B12 and other nutrients. And this is super common, which is why I emphasize getting B12 into your system, as it's one of the most important nutrients for your vagus nerve. I want to tell you about a specific food that is amazing for targeting the vagal nerve inflammation, and that is cilantro or parsley. And what I want you to do with this specifically is not eat a ton of it. I mean, a ton of it's great, but is to actually juice it, right? Juicing it is going to pull out the nutrients and let your body absorb it in a really special way, right? You're going to absorb the nutrients when it's in this liquid form better. Yes, fiber is good for you, but by taking it out, you're like making it a superfood by juicing it. And so whether you have a juicer or you have a blender, if you have a blender and even cheesecloth or a nut bag or a fine mesh strainer, this is a great way. And you can start with just a whole bunch of cilantro or a whole bunch of parsley. I encourage you to pick whichever you're called to, whichever one you enjoy the taste of more. And it's going to make a nice little shot, right, that you can drink. And that should start calming down the acid of the inflammation of your vagus nerve. There are some key supplements that I recommend for vagus nerve health. One is GABA. And GABA is an important neurotransmitter that helps regulate your brain activity. And GABA has a very calming effect on your nervous system, which is crucial for soothing that inflammation in your vagus nerve. So if your vagus nerve is inflamed, your nervous system is overstimulated, and GABA can help calm that down. Magnesium plays a huge role in nerve function as well. It helps the body maintain proper electrolyte balance, which is essential for nerve health. And most of the people that I see are very deficient in electrolytes. Magnesium also supports the body's ability to deal with stress, which is critical when you're dealing with long COVID and vagal nerve inflammation. The third supplement, as I mentioned, B12, is essential for nerve function. It helps maintain the protective sheath around the nerves, called the myelin sheath, and is critical for the proper transmission of nerve signals. Without enough B12, you can experience nerve damage, which can worsen symptoms of vagus nerve inflammation. The last thing I want to talk about are some food and lifestyle tips, right? If you're dealing with vagus nerve inflammation, there are a few lifestyle changes that you can make that make a big difference. First, things like walking or moving too quickly can actually make your symptoms worse. It's all about very slow, gentle movements. Think yoga, qigong, along with lots of rest. If you're really sick and fatigued, you might not even have the energy for that, and that's okay, right? Listen to your body. It's key to start slow and listen to your body. Before you start any movement or breath work, is really critical that you're well hydrated with plenty of electrolytes and minerals, especially magnesium. If you are drinking caffeine in any form, is something that you want to avoid, as it overstimulates the nervous system. So this is avoiding coffee, tea. I mean, even decaf coffee and decaf tea has some degree of caffeine in it, and also chocolate. So any energy drink. So make sure you understand the ingredients of what you're consuming so that you can avoid all forms of caffeine. Excess fat in your diet could be causing more inflammation in your bloodstream. Fat can make it harder for your body to absorb the nutrients that it needs to heal. Fat can also insulate your brain, trapping heat and making inflammation worse. So this combined with adrenaline, when you're eating a lot of fat, you're always going to be releasing more adrenaline because your body does that automatically to thin the blood to get that fat into your brain. But this heat, this excess fat combined with adrenaline can leave your brain feeling like it's on fire. So cutting back on fat, even for one single day, could be a game changer for you. So give it a try. Try for just one day having absolutely no fat in your diet. Now, the thing that's going to satiate you in the absence of fat is glucose. So you're going to need to bring in more fruit. You're going to either need to eat more or more frequently. You're going to need to eat fruit, starchy carbs like potatoes, sweet potatoes, winter squash, things like that. And then when you eat those, you might need more minerals as well to balance, to create the electrolyte balance. So this is like leafy greens, any of your green vegetables, those are going to be more mineral rich for you. Alcohol is another thing that depletes. It depletes glucose, it depletes minerals, and it dehydrates your body. It's one of the worst things to put in your system when you're dealing with vagus nerve inflammation. I have a client story to share with you. I have a client right now whose vagus nerve inflammation is so severe that he cannot walk, he cannot talk, he cannot eat, and he cannot drink except for a very short window at night because his nervous system is so sensitive that even he can't even be on our Zoom calls, right? I'm actually working with his mom exclusively and on his recovery and taking things incredibly slow. And we're focusing on reducing toxins, nourishing his body, supporting his nervous system, and so that bit by bit he can start healing. I hope this video gives you some insight into vagus nerve inflammation and what you can do to start addressing it. And don't forget to grab your long COVID recovery guide for more detailed steps. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I read and reply to all the comments that y'all leave. You've got this. Thank you so much for being here. Bye for now.